Hi, this is a lecture taken from my online course about the Apache Spark certification, which is offered by Databricks. It handles one of the topics that you need to understand in order to get certified. So check it out. In this lecture, we are going to learn how to filter a data frame. To filter a data frame, you have two possibilities. We have the filter method and the where method. Both methods are interchangeable and they have the same type of arguments. The arguments of both methods must be an expression that evaluated to true or false. That means it must be a Boolean expression. All rows not matching the Boolean expression are filtered out of the resulting data frame. Let's see an example of that. Using the customer data frame, you are going to filter out some rows based on some conditions. Let's get started. We will pick the customer data frame and we will start with the where method. We specify it. For example, let's say we want to filter rows where the customer is born after the year 1980. For that, we specify a column object for the year function. We say birth date should be greater than 1980. When we do that, Apache Spark will then return a new data frame that does not contain a new row where the year of the birth date is smaller than 1980. We can execute the row and it returns a new data set or a new data frame in this case. Then we can also filter again like this, and let's say we want only the customer where the birth date, let's say the month where they are born is January. In Apache Spark, to test for equality, we must use the equal sign 3 times. So if you are coming from other programming language, if you do something like this won't work. And if you are used to work with SQL, you also know that you can check for equality using only one equal sign. But when you are working with column objects, you must check for equality using the equal signs 3 times. And then we say the first month. This way we say we only want people that are born after the 80 and born in January. We can further filter the data frame again. Let's say the day of birth, for example, and this time you can specify a SQL expression directly as an argument. You can say day, the birth date in this case should be greater than 15. What we have here, the month of the birth should be equal to 1 and the day where they were born should be greater than 15. Let's also see what we can also use as argument here. We can also check for inequality. For that, we can do something like this. We say the first name or first. Let's check for the birth country. We say the birth country should be in equal. This is how we check for inequality when we are working in Scala with Apache Spark and we want to check for inequality. This is the operator that you have to use. So United States, for example, and from there we would like to select the first name, the last name, the birth date, and the birth country. What we have here, we can see that the where and the filter method both takes the same type of parameter. Here we have the filter method that takes a SQL function and returns a value which can be true or false. Here we see that we can also use the where function and pass in directly a SQL expression. We can also do the same thing with the filter method. And this is how we can then filter a data frame based on the condition that we want. Remember that to check for equality or inequality, you have to use the equal sign 3 times. And this is how you check for inequality. And the rest should remain the same. Now we can also see that we can check for greater or less using operators that we already know. Let me execute that. Now I can let me put that into a data frame called filtered, equal that, execute it. This returns a nice data frame that only has 4 columns, and each of the values of the column must return true for the condition that we specified up here. Let us take a look into that, and to do that we must trigger the execution of the directed acyclic graph that represents the filtered data frame. To do that, we use an action. Filtered dot show, for example. The show action will then show us the data in the console. This then triggers an Apache Spark job. Later we will see what is an Apache Spark job. Now, as you can see, this is the birth date. The birth month is 1 and the birth day is greater than 15. Also, the birth country is not United States. There's also one thing that you can do here. If you open it here like this on the job, you click here on the view. Now this can allows you to see the directed acyclic graph visualization of this data frame. As long as the expression specified inside the where or filter method returns true or false, the where or filter method will work. Also note that the function year or month and also day takes a column as an argument and not a string. This is important because in the exam there are a couple of questions where you will see something like this. Let me show you, where they specified a string and then ask you if this query will return something like this. Now it is up to you to know that the month, the SQL function month expect, for example, a column object and not a string. So let me execute that and you may see the error. You see, month expect a column and not a string. In any case, if you doubt if it is a string or a column object, then go to the documentation and from there you can see what is required. Execute that again so that we have everything nicely. And when we triggered an action on a data frame, for example, in this case, we are using an action that allows us to show the data in the console. It then goes ahead and executes a directed acyclic graph of the given data frame and then return a couple of rows. If you enjoyed this video, I think you will also like the entire course. The course covers all the topics you need to pass the exam, such as understanding the basics of the Apache Spark architecture, how to manipulate columns in a data frame, how to filter columns or rows from a data frame. It also covers how to work with user-defined function and Spark SQL functions. The course contains over 4.5 hours of video, and you will also get a Databricks notebooks that you can import directly into a Databricks workspace to easily follow all the instructions and all the code exercise. It also contains more than 40 quizzes that will help you prepare for the exam. So use the link in the description below to join the course and get certified. Thank you.